So this is a video that I wanted to do sooner rather than later, and that is why I am choosing to what some people would call overshare. So let me tell you why. When I was pregnant with Ella out west, I was around not many people, and that's really not much of an exaggeration. I had work, we had our few college friends who were still kind of in the area. Most of them weren't, most of them went to LA. So it was really just Tim and I. And I had never, I don't think for the entirety of my pregnancy, I had sat down once with one mom, one person who had had a kid, and had any conversation about epidurals or natural birth versus being induced or anything that goes breastfeeding, anything that goes with children, labor, C-sections, anything. So what did I do? I Googled the hell out of everything. That is not an exaggeration. Seriously, asked him, should I get an epidural? Should I not get an epidural? What is this like? What is that like? What is this like? I read what to expect when you're expecting. Any sort of assurance that I could pop this kid out without dying came from a forum. I didn't have in-person reassurance, encouragement. I just didn't. It was just that time in my life. Tim and I got married right out of college. We had a baby right after we got married. So I was not around my family, I was not around Tim's family, and I was not around most of my friends. I looked to the internet for stuff, which can be good and which can be bad. When I was pregnant with Ella, the things that I most appreciated that I found were just straight up experiences, straight up stories, not like, you know, not the fluff of everything and not the, oh my God, it was the worst thing of everything. So fast forward to me going through postpartum depression, me going through agoraphobia, me being diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, depression, all of these things. I was still out west, so I decided to start writing about it. I felt so isolated during my pregnancy. It was the most isolating time of my life. It was one of the hardest times of my entire life that I thought, if I'm just here going through this, why not write about it? If people are Googling, like I was sitting there on my bed, 7 months pregnant, huge and unable to, you know, turn over, how to like get through labor with peace of mind, then maybe people who are experiencing anxiety and going through a panic attack or Googling can find someone out there who has dealt with the same thing, who maybe knows how to get through a panic attack. I think we're getting more comfortable talking about mental health, which is freaking awesome. We should be. I don't think that we're so comfortable with it yet that we openly talk about therapy and how to find a therapist or all these different things. What I wanted to do was show the nitty-gritty in between day-to-day life of living with anxiety. I want to talk about therapy. I want to talk about psychologists. I want to talk about how to find a therapist. I want to talk about antidepressants. I want to talk about side effects of antidepressants. I want to talk about agoraphobia and depression and postpartum depression and anxiety. Another reason that makes me okay sharing all of this, sharing this like maybe overly personal thing is my problem isn't special. I know there are people out there who deal with the exact same thing, and I think there's beauty in that. No one person is ever truly alone in what they experience. There is always going to be someone else like you out there. So for me, there's no shame in talking about therapy or anxiety or depression or any of the things attached to that, because it's just life. People out there deal with the exact same thing. These aren't taboo problems to keep hush hush. I'm just doing this because I was once in a place where I felt isolated and alone and like I was never gonna be able to get through anything that I was needing to get through. And I went online to try to help myself get through it. I know from experience that when you first start facing these sorts of problems, you're not gonna skip on over to your best friend's house and just openly talk about everything that you've been dealing with or are dealing with. these are deeply personal issues. There are really hard problems to face. So when you first start confronting these sorts of things, when you first start thinking, maybe I do need to see a therapist, maybe I do need to get an antidepressant, you Google it. Freaking WebMD, please. Everyone self-diagnoses themselves one time in their life. Like, you just turn to the internet for more information. And so hopefully maybe someone out there who has anxiety or depression can see that they aren't alone.